Perfect. So we are now in our more intense yoga flow, which is going to involve a lot more movement. So please be mindful of where you are in your flow right now. This is really good for the last few days of your flow or post flow when you're trying to build yourself back into a more intense workout. So taking a notice of how your body is feeling, I just want you to shake and bounce, noticing how you're feeling, maybe shaking out your toes. Closing your eyes as you cut off any external influences of stimuluses that affect our body, and just going inwardly. It allows us to communicate a little bit more with our body. Maybe coming into stillness and starting to rock from left to right, moving the head around in whatever position feels comfortable for you. Opening the hands out, noticing how you're feeling as you bring your hands up and around as big as possible, keeping your eyes closed, trying not to follow my guidance, but following what your body feels like it needs to do. From here, you should be able to understand if your body wants to go into a bit more of an intense stretch, or if it needs to go back into the slower flow or the guided meditation. Please listen to your body, because this is going to be much more intense than the other classes. So we're going to start at the top of our mat, and we're going to take a nice deep breath, and we're going to place our toes together. Our big toes should be touching, but our heels should be separate. From here, we are going to engage our core. So I want us to stand nice and strong. We're not allowing our back to bend, and we're not standing with low energy. I want you to stand with power. And as we do that, we squeeze our legs together, we squeeze our glutes together, and we tucking this pelvis, and we stand up and powerful, and releasing the shoulders down as we look forwards with our palms facing forwards. We're going to take a moment here as we squeeze everything inwardly. We're taking a nice deep breath in, and exhale, release. We're going to place the hands inwardly, and we're going to open up into reverse swan, bringing our hands above our head, reaching up towards the ceiling as much as we can, and then we're going to slowly come all the way over to the left side of our body. As we're holding this position here, maybe looking up towards the ceiling, we're then going to come all the way over to the opposite side. Again, exactly like the slow flow, the focus is moving in between the two positions, coming back into the center and slowly over to the other side. Maybe bringing the lower hand, which should be your right hand, onto your right leg, and maybe looking a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. We're going to cartwheel ourselves across, bringing the right hand up towards the ceiling, left hand onto the thigh as we look up towards the ceiling as much as we can. The sides of our body tends to get really tight during our period, so doing that is really, really essential. From here, we're going to open up our hands again into swan, opening up as much as we can. Our core should be engaged, so our back is not doing this. We're nice and strong as we reach up to the sky. From here, we're swanning, and we're bending the knees as our big toes are touching and our heels are separate. We're squeezing in this core, and we've swan, diving down, and we're holding this position as we look up. We should be lifting up our hands to engage the upper back, and we should be squeezing in the core to engage our lower back. From here, we are then slowly rolling ourselves down, releasing the upper body, keeping the knees bent as we slowly come to this forward fold position. From here, we're then going to place our hands onto our shins, and we're going to push our hands against our shins to come into a table. Our knees can still be bent, our toes are still touching, heels are a little bit gap between them. From here, as we look forwards, we're then going to release all the way down, placing our hands onto the floor, and we're going to relax our legs backwards into our all four position. So this is a great way to get an understanding of our body before we come into more of an intense movement with our legs and our hips. Taking a nice deep breath like we did in the slow flow, you should know how to adjust into your all four positionings by now. So shoulders, elbows and wrists should all be in line, and our hands are about shoulder width apart. Our knees are about hip width apart, and our feet are in direct alignment with our knees. We should be engaging our core in neutral, but from here we're going to move straight into our cat-cow. So lifting our head and our hips up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling, bringing our hips and our head towards our abdomen. Inhale to rise for cat, and inhale for cow. Perfect. Flowing between these two positions and then coming back into neutral, and we're going to come round into a quick movement flow. Noticing how your body's feeling. Holding a position that feels comfortable for you. And then coming back into our neutral position. As you can see, this is a much faster flow, and understanding your body is really essential. Tucking your toes, engaging your core in this neutral position. We're lifting our knees up into that hover to hold and look forwards, and exhale to release, rocking back and forth. Taking nice deep breaths. We're about to start a vinyasa flow now that our body is prepared for some movement. We're going to come into neutral, we're going to look forwards, we're going to come up into a hover, hold, and exhale, release. One more, rocking back and forth. We're making our way into our downward dog. Nice deep breath. We're looking forward, engaging the core, lifting up into a hover, and then we're lifting the hips into the ceiling. Adjusting our feet so they're about hip width apart. The heels can be off the floor, our knees can be bent. The focus is bringing the straightening of the elbows as you push your head in between your arms and your chest towards your thighs, and lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. We're taking a nice deep breath here, pulling that belly into the spine, taking a nice deep breath in, and exhale. We're going to walk our feet all the way to the top of our mat, nice and slow, stepping each foot down. As we come to a position where we feel uncomfortable, we're releasing our hands, maybe shaking our hands out as we zombie walk to the top of our mat, and then we're going to slowly roll ourselves up into standing. Once we get up into standing, we engage the glute, we lift up the abdomen, we roll the shoulders back, and we look up. I want you to roll those shoulders backwards, taking a nice deep breath, adjusting your positioning if you feel the need. And from here, we are going to open up the hands one more time, lifting up towards the ceiling, and we're going to curve backwards as much as we can. So before you do this, I want you to make sure that you're engaging that body. Our legs should be squeezed, our glutes should be squeezed, our abdomen should be squeezed. And before we go to lean back, everything here should be nice and stable. As we lean back, we should feel our hips being pushed forwards, our head looking up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we're bringing ourselves back into neutral, opening up the hands and slowly rolling down onto our forward fold, placing the hands onto the floor, kicking the legs backwards, maybe coming into our plank or onto our all fours, whatever's easier. Plank all the way down slowly into chaturanga and placing ourselves straight down onto the mat, or in adjustments, bringing our knees down and slowly lowering everything down to the floor. From here, I want you to rock your hips from left to right, taking a nice deep breath, feeling the massage on the front of the hips and maybe into the lower abdomen, keeping the hands against the chest. Taking a nice deep breath here, releasing the head down onto the mat, relaxing the hands down onto the side. Maybe continue to move the hips from left to right, or just take a moment to be as still as possible. Notice how it feels as we've moved our body around from standing to seated to laying. Taking a nice deep breath here, we're placing our hands against our chest again, lifting our head up, but this time I want you to tuck the chin in towards the chest. As you tuck the chin in towards the chest, we're then going to push the hands down into the mat and slowly push ourselves up into a cobra. Our elbows should be in towards the body, and if this position is comfortable for you here, you're then going to lift your head up towards the ceiling and then slowly roll ourselves all the way down, slowly bringing the chin back into the chest. We're going to do that 2 more times, tucking the chin in, pushing ourselves all the way up, rising up as high as we can, lifting that head up nice and slowly, and then exhale, releasing all the way down. How big this flow is all up to you. So as we do it 1 more time, tuck that chin in, push the hands into the floor, tuck the elbows in towards the body, roll up as high as you can, and then lift that head, lift the chin towards the ceiling, and then slowly curve all the way down and tuck that chin in towards the chest. Taking a moment here, I just want you to rock those hips from left to right, keeping the head looking down. We are then going to tuck the toes, and we're going to push ourselves up onto the all fours or into plank, whatever feels more comfortable for you. So you can either push up onto all fours or push up straight into a plank. From here, we're bringing ourselves into our downward dog, walking our feet into a position that feels comfortable for you. Heels can be off the floor, knees can be bent. The focus is from the head and the hands, the upper body, pulling the chest towards the thighs, and then lifting the bum up towards the ceiling as you try to push the heels down towards the floor. From here, we're gonna walk our feet all the way up. 1 more time. To finish off our vinyasa flow, we are then going to place our hands against our shin, lift up into table, looking forwards, exhale, forward fold all the way down. And from here, we're going to reverse swan dive. So we're going to open ourselves up. So as we've gone downwards in the swan, we're going to reverse it. So lifting up nice and slowly, engaging the core, engaging the hips, pushing the hips forwards nice and slowly, rising up, squeezing the legs. So we should be in a nice pencil shape, engaging all the positions that we have engaged to the floor. And then on the exhale, we are releasing everything out. I want you to give a little bit of a shake. Notice how your body is feeling. I've moved to the side so you can see me, but please stand at the top of your mat as you take a little shake, a bounce. Notice how your bounce feels different from the beginning of this little flow. This is you releasing any tension in your body. And we are going to come into stillness. Our feet are going to be hip width apart now, and we're going to spread our toes as wide as we can. I like to lift up my toes as much as possible. I've said this either in this video or a previous video, that a lot of nerves are in our feet and our hands. So I want you, it's really important to spread out our fingers and our toes as much as possible, especially during our cycle, to communicate towards our hips and towards our shoulders that we are safe. So taking a nice deep breath, I just want you to stretch out your fingers and your toes, squeezing them down to the floor for the toes and squeezing them in towards the body whilst you stretch them open and wide. We're going to come into our little bit of our floor movements and flows and engagements. So taking a moment, however you wish, to make your way down onto your bum and pulling your knees in towards your chest as much as you possibly can. Now we're going to come into a little bit more engagement into the core, which is really awesome in moving blood and engaging with the muscles in that area, that we are ready to do more exercise, to build more in this area. So this is a really perfect way to prepare your body for more movement. So from here, we can either place our hands onto the knees or we can relax them on the side. I want you to be pulled from the top of your head. You should be having a nice straight back. You shouldn't be relaxed down like this, and you shouldn't be too upright like this. I want you to engage everything inwardly so you can hold this nice straight position. If it's difficult for you to do that with your hands out, please place your hands onto your knees, looking forwards. We're going to hold this position for 3 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Bringing ourselves all the way forwards, placing our hands down onto our legs, curving our head in between our knees. We're going to take a nice deep breath here. And exhale, relax. placing the hands onto the knees, bringing ourselves up, straightening our back, whatever position that you were in before. Try to do it again. 3 seconds, 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing ourselves all the way back down, holding this position here. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, relax. This time now we're going to slowly roll down onto the floor. So I want you to place your hands onto the side, or you can use the assistance of your knees, and we're going to slowly roll down onto the floor. So taking a moment, vertebra by vertebra, to roll everything down onto the floor and adjust into a position that feels comfortable for you. From here, I want you to pull the heels in towards the bum as much as you can, and placing the hands onto the side of our mat. I want you to roll your knees over to the left as much as you possibly can and just hold this position here. Okay, it may feel a little bit awkward to hold this position. It's more than normal. I just want you to take a nice deep breath into this twist. If you need to add pillows into the side so that they're not that low down, please do so, or just hold the knees onto the side here. We're trying to breathe into this twist here, so taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, bringing ourselves across to the other side, reminding ourselves of the flows in between the movements, holding this position, whatever feels comfortable, adding the pillows or the positions that are needed. Deep breath. And exhale, bringing ourselves back into the center, bringing our heels in towards our bum. We're going to do one bridge from here, so pushing the back down into the floor, pushing the hips up into the ceiling as you push the heels down into the floor, the shoulders down into the floor, and we're going to hold, engage this position. 3, 2, and 1. Slow release all the way down. I want you to bring your legs up into the ceiling, and we're just going to shake them out, shaking the feet, shaking the legs as much as you can, and then we're slowly moving into our Savasana. So feet should be about mat width apart. Our hands should be on the outside of our mat as well. Please add pillows if you feel comfortable. You can place them underneath your lower abdomen, underneath your quads if you want, so your hamstrings if you want, just to support the legs as you kind of push that pelvis back into the floor as you lift your legs up. That also feels more comfortable for the lower back if your lower back is sore right now. We're just going to take a moment here for the next 2 to 3 minutes to be as silent and as still as we possibly can. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling up the lungs. Exhale, releasing and relaxing. And again, nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, release and relax. Please try to be as still and as quiet as you possibly can. You have an option of keeping your hands exactly where they are, or interlacing the fingers together and placing them onto your lower abdomen. And we're going to stay here for a moment, allowing our thoughts to pass like clouds. We're not attaching to any thoughts. As we absorb our practice, as we absorb what our body is trying to communicate with us, and we release into our mat. Noticing how your stomach is gently rising and falling. Noticing how your body feels. The different sensations and feelings that arise as you're in this position. And we're going to slowly start to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Slowly waking up the body. And we are going to roll over to the left side of our mat. Taking a moment here to find 3 things that we're grateful for. And we're going to slowly make our way up into seated. As we finish off our practice, we're going to place our hands together in prayer. Bringing our thumbs towards our head, giving thanks for calm and loving intentions. Giving thanks for calm and loving communication. Placing our thumbs against our chest on our heart space, giving thanks for calm and loving intentions. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. One last time, nice deep breath in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Placing our thumbs back onto our forehead in between our eyebrows, bowing forwards. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing this class. I hope your symptoms are getting better and easier over time, and I'm excited for you to do the intense class. See you soon.